Resonating with impact and influence. It's a very interesting approach to look at the life of an entrepreneur and a career person. Now, the first place to start is really to ask that, what is your agenda for life? Why do you do what you do? Why do you set out to build a company or to build a career? What is the end game of your investment in your career and your investment in building a successful business? Apart from the fact that when it does work, we build economic power for ourselves. And the economic power allows us to have the capacity to do many other things. One great part of the life that we live as an entrepreneur or as a successful career person is that we have a chance to become an influencer. We influence others by our values. We influence others by our attitude. We influence others by our decisions. We influence others by our actions. Whether young, old, employees, or partners, or business associates, we become a book that they read in the way that we behave. And as they look at our lives, our values, is our word our bond? Values, can we be trusted? Values, will we be honorable about our agreements? Values, will we treat those that work for us with fairness and equity? Values, will we be just and fair in our transactions with our customers? Values, if we say we're people of faith, whatever our faith is, will the way we conduct ourselves, will it communicate that faith, or will it put people of our faith? Values, will we influence the next generation by how we function? Can even our signature be trusted, let alone talk about our word? So, the beauty and the joy of being successful also comes with responsibilities. It comes with responsibilities and it comes with power. That power to influence that we gain by the visibility of our success in our careers or in our business is something that we must always feel a sense of responsibility to. It allows us, in line with the theme, to dominate the environment and to dominate and become a significant individual wherever we live. The question is, will we be responsible in handling the power of influence that we have, or the opportunity that we have to significantly impact the examples that other people around us take from what we do? A lot of times, we just want the success. A lot of times, we just want to make money from it. However, societies are built by the examples of others. Because we're a generation that continues to learn from the last generation or from the current generation. And that then makes it an important responsibility that we must face, that there are consequences for the success that we seek. And honestly, it starts from our homes. Today, I actually went to a funeral service, and I've never been so touched listening to the testimony of a man who died, but listening to the testimony of him from his children and his wife. It was amazing in an African context where many children are fearful of fathers, where fathers create some level of fear and intimidation in their children. To see children well educated, successful in their own right, all three married with children. Speak about, he only died at 68. He wasn't 90. But the testimonial of his influence, his impact, his teachings to his children totally blew me away. As one of his sons said, there are fathers, there are great fathers, and there is their father. As far as they were concerned, their father was in a class of his own. And they could testify about him as a husband to their mother, and as an example that taught them the foundation of everything they know about love, about family, and about responsibility. The bottom line is, whether we like it or not, our lives are lived on a stage. We have a full audience, invited or uninvited, of the world watching what we do. We have a full audience from our homes to outside, watching our actions, our decisions, our words, and everything else around us. And whether we like it or not, we will be judged by them. And so we're either influencing for good, or we're destroying other lives by our actions because we influence negatively. Because we show other people around us the wrong way to do things and make them think it's the only way. So ask yourself, what is your end game? How do you want to finish? To be successful at what you do is great, but what is the end story of your success? What will be the example or the testimonial? There's a question I always ask, that imagine today is that your last day on the face of the earth, and there's a book about your life. What would you like to read in it? When you take stock of the way you act, the things you do, your examples in building your success, because there is success at all cost, but in building success at all cost, what have you traded off? What is the opportunity cost in terms of being significant and being a positive influence on others? What choices do you make that work towards what your end goal is? Because if you actually have never thought about how you really want to finish, and all you're counting is the bank balance when you finish, then many things can be destroyed at the end. You know, when it comes to the moment of the point of death in a man or a woman's life, the cars won't count, the houses will not count, because frankly, we really don't know what happens to them after. We can leave them to our children, but if we haven't raised them right, then they could go wrong and all the effort will be wasted. Or we could leave them and strangers will take them because we haven't built a foundation in our home that keeps our home together. You know, as I was thinking about this family, somebody else gave me an example of another family where the father died. And the children could not even come together to agree to bury their father with honor, simply because the seed of discord is what had been sown in their household. And they didn't get the right influence to build their family as one. And therefore for them, even burying the hatchets to honor their father was not good enough to make them do the right things. Everybody did their own, and at the end, it was an embarrassment and a mess. So, when we think about our legacies, we will build with intentionality. If we don't think about how we want to finish, then anything might be all right. But when you're thinking about a life of influence and of significance, and a life that will impact others, then you have to be more intentional about your actions. You have to be more decisive about what you do. You must decide what is your right and what is your wrong. And you must make decisions at every point to support the direction of the choice that you have made. Sometimes it will cost you to make that kind of choice. But when time is all gone, all that will be left will be the stories of the life we lived, and how the way we lived and the way we acted and the way we built our careers or our businesses, how it influenced others, or the story we told by how we lived and how the world sees it, for good or for bad. That would be our legacy. So what is the lesson here? We're building our story a day at a time. The choice of today will add to the story of tomorrow. The choice of tomorrow will add to the story of the day after. Be intentional about your choices. Be decisive about what is important to you. Discount the things that will not add to what your end goal is. Decide how you want to finish. Do a gaps analysis between where you are and how to get to where you want to get to. And it doesn't matter what you've done before. Start rebuilding the story of your life so that at the end, you can finish leaving a legacy of influence and impact. Any help you can offer that will change a life, do it. Any value you can create that would help nurture others in the right direction, invest in it, starting from our homes. Because what's the value of a prophet who saves others outside but leaves a home destroyed? So we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror and see where the gaps are and invest in building. Not at all cost, but building at the cost that takes us towards the goal that we've set for ourselves. Indeed, we can finish with a life of significance and a life of influence. But we must choose what kind of influence do we want to leave behind. What kind of society do we want to be a part of building by our actions? And then take the right actions towards it. Sometimes, yes, you'll be unpopular for those, but who cares? Because at the end of the day, if what you've done is right, time will tell your story. Thank you very much.